I am driving on an old logging road, a back road here, and I figured I'd catch you up on what's going on. I got to go about 7 miles, I am told, to get to cell phone service so I can check some messages. That's the plan here, so we're going to see if it works. This road, I got to go about 2 miles an hour because it's an old logging road, and that's pretty much what we're on here and hunting on is old logging roads. We are in the north woods of Maine. Genevieve is checking in her bear. Yes, she got a bear last night. Pretty exciting. So Genevieve, where are you headed?
Going to check in my first Maine bear.
First Maine bear? That sounds like there might be more Maine bear in your...
Never know.
I have seen the same little fella come in a couple of times. Part of me is debating shooting that bear because it looks like it's injured. I don't know if it was in a car accident, got hit by a car or a logging truck or something. There's no cars up here. It's not like that bear ever saw a car, most likely. Attacked by another bear, has some kind of genetic disease or something, had some injuries, but it looks like its front shoulder and its rear leg are malformed. And it could be just a genetic thing with that bear. I did talk to my guide about it. I've talked to other hunters in camp about it. We've gone back and forth talking about whether I should shoot that bear just to put it out of its misery. I've gone back and forth on it. That bear's hide even looks odd. Kind of reminds me of the goiter doe. Remember the goiter doe that I shot with while I was hunting with One-Eyed Archer, a friend of Bunjie Jim? We were hunting and I shot that deer that had that malformed jaw. And that deer somehow survived several years. It was a 3-year-old deer, but it was not the weight or size of a 3-year-old deer. It couldn't feed itself, but it was managing to get through Pennsylvania winters. This is a bear probably from last year. It's probably, 125 pounds or something like that on a good day. And here it is at the end of the season, and it might weigh 125 pounds, something like that. It is a little bear. I don't know. What do you think? Do you shoot that bear just to put it out of its misery? On the other hand, it's made it this far. Who am I to say that it can't make it further? So begins night number 3 of Death by Bunjie's Bear Bash 2025. So I'm going to jump in here now and talk about the Maine bear hunt, Bunjie's Bear Bash 2025. What a great time we had. We absolutely had the most fantastic time. And there were 4 friends of Bunjie who joined Genevieve and I. Genevieve ended up with a bear using this very arrow, a Maine Hunter Doom arrow, which means a lot to me because this is sort of a piece of Death by Bunjie history, right? It was donated to me by a friend of Bunjie, Alex, years and years ago. He gave me a dozen or so of these, and I played around with them. I've taken them to Maine and killed my own black bear, and now Genevieve has killed her own Maine black bear with a Doom Maine Hunter arrow. How cool is that? The veins did hold up.
I have all my veins. Look at that.
Yeah, you got a good arrow builder in the family.
Somebody
there.
knows what he's doing.
The arrow held up. The Swahacker held up.
That's the entry.
You go, girl.
You don't want to see the exit.
Oh, yes, we do.
Come on, let's look at it.
Look at the belly.
Oh, my.
There it is.
Dang.
Couldn't have placed it any better.
That's a Swahacker.
The limbs on the Enforcer even held up and survived the entire trip. That's kind of cool. Patriot had a little splintered limb issue there. It is true that is the crossbow that I put in the press. I had been asked that question before, and I think I said, no, it's not the same crossbow. But then thinking back, yes, it was the same crossbow. When you got a few of these things, they kind of run together. It's hard to keep track of them. But nonetheless, that was the crossbow that I pressed. I really don't think that has anything to do with it. It was the one I was going to hunt with, and that's why I took a backup, though. I like to do that when I go on these longer trips away from home. Know that issue has already started with that crossbow because in the pictures, I've got a picture that I took before I went to Maine when I was playing around with that crossbow and shooting them. And in that picture, you can see the splintered limb. I didn't even notice it at the time. I didn't even see that when I was taking that picture and processing that picture. Isn't that funny? A few people were like,
oh, you should have noticed that. Don't you check?
Oh yeah, you do need to look them over, and I need to be more attentive to that 100%. Some people had commented on her like,
oh, you were just got done saying that limb breakages were behind us and that they were a thing of the past.
If you were around in the crossbow world 5 years ago, around 2020 or so, that's what I'm referring to. Every week there were dozens on Facebook or on the forums. That is not going on today. These crossbow manufacturers, many of them, have really cleaned up their act and fixed a lot of the issues that were going on back then. Knock issues, manufacturing defects. I can also tell you, I don't think it's a light arrow issue. If you are unfamiliar with Death by Bunjie, if you think that I'm a light arrow guy, that's crazy. Scopes, how come I'm going up there with 2 Twilight DLX scopes? The Burris Oracle X, a range-finding scope, greatest scope in the history of crossbow hunting, I believe. I was under the impression that there would be a new range-finding scope out that I really wanted to try, so I had taken that scope off and I was playing around with other options in the backyard. I had the Twilight DLX on the one, and I don't remember why I put it on there. It was for a video or something like that, but I do love the Twilight DLX scope. Works great on the SWAT X1s. It works great on there for what it is. It's not a range-finding scope, but it's still a great scope, and it's great in low light, and in the Maine woods you need low light, and it's one of the best low light scopes I've ever owned, if not the best one. There's a little bit of sentimental attachment to that scope as well, because I hunted with that scope on Bunjie for so many years. It's a great scope. I had it on the one SWAT, and I thought, well, if you're taking another one as a backup, you want to take the other one and put that scope on there as well, so that the 2 crossbows are identical. So that was my plan. That's the reason I did it. I have 3 of those Twilight DLXs, I believe, and so that's why I was doing that. It's not because I don't like the Burris Oracle X. I still love the Burris Oracle X. Moose Point Lodge, right? I was telling you how great that place was. These people really know how to do it. They think the way I do about setting up a stand in an ambush site. They really do a good job for us as crossbow hunters. The trail into my stand had been weed whacked. The brush was cut. You're not brushing up against things and leaving an odor. You're not making a noise. It's well marked. You get in the stand and they've actually got the rings, those things that make all the noise on the tree stand. They had them taped down so they're not making a lot of noise. The stands were relatively new and they were comfortable. They were the most comfortable stands I ever sat in. They were positioned nicely for me as a right-handed shooter, and if you're left-handed, you would want to express that to them. You're sitting here where you can easily aim off to your left. It was set up perfectly for me. They hadn't gone through and cut every branch everywhere so that you're hunting in a parking lot. They left it not just a shooting lane, but really a shooting window. Like a shooting window. It's just a very limited amount of visibility to the barrel, but that's all you need. They thought about this ahead of time. I don't want to be able to see everywhere. I only want to be able to make a really good shot when the time comes. And in fact, the other stuff is just a distraction. And the more that you have, the more visibility you have, the more open it is, the more the bear can see you when you're moving around at the time that it matters, right? You've been sitting there for 4 hours, 5 hours. That's when you start rooching around. And this way it cuts down on the bear being able to even pick up on that. So I really appreciate the folks there from the hunting standpoint. And I'm not even talking about the accommodations. The place where we stayed, it was very comfortable. The food was fantastic. What more do you want? I really do want to go back next year. I know Genevieve is interested in that. So we will try to set something up for a bear bash for 2026. And if you're interested in that, get on the deathbybunjie.com website, get on the free email newsletter, and you'll get notice of that as well. The way they do it at the Moose Point Lodge, you are hunting and you get that stand for a week. Now, they did move some of our hunters for one reason or another, but they don't like to do that, and I get this. The reason they want you on that stand is because that initial night you go in there, if you don't see a bear, it's possible that it was just the timing was off or it had something to do with the disturbance of you going in there. But the bears eventually will forgive that, and if you sit there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, by Thursday, those bears come around. And they might give you that shot opportunity, but they start to forgive and get comfortable with that disturbance. That's going to change year to year as crops change year to year. You got acorns some year, not so much the next year. Berries one year, berries not the next year. Genevieve found plenty of food sources out there when she was waiting for the guide to come to her hunting stand after she shot her bear.
There is raspberries and blackberries and all kinds of berries everywhere. Like every plant that a bear could eat is here.
There's all kinds of reasons for bears to not visit a bait barrel. Like I said, there are no guarantees. But we had 8 people in camp total, 8 hunters, 4 friends of Bunjie, and then me and Genevieve. 7 of us saw bears. 7 of the 8 hunters saw bears. 6 of us took shots, and 5 of the 8 hunters took home bears. 5 of the 8 hunters. Those are great odds. That's pretty good.
Death by Bunjie.
Tonight, I have been thinking an awful lot about that little bear. I've been giving that a lot of thought. And should I shoot that little bear or not? Should I put it out of its misery or not? I talked to the guide about it, and I talked to friends of Bunjie about it. And if that little bear comes in today, I am going to pass and wish him well. Come 4:30, I might change my mind. You just feel like there is a big bear out there, big old Maine Bruin, that comes in later. And this bear is like bait for those big bears. Once he comes in, if he messes with those sticks, they'll hear that and they'll want to come in. Eventually that's going to be true, because they've been here before, and overnight that barrel was finished up, just about finished up. Now they might have been in here this morning, in which case maybe they don't come back, but we'll see. There's one way to find out. Fingers crossed. When it came right down to it, I decided to pass on that little bear. He showed up again that night. We spent some more time together. And the following night, I actually handed that stand over to a friend of Bunjie who hadn't yet seen a bear. And he, on that night, got a shot at a monster. Can you believe that? Sometimes that's just how it goes. So the plan of giving those bears time to get comfortable with the newfound disturbance worked. Genevieve had a great trip. I had a great trip. I don't really regret it one bit. And we will be back. I hope you have enjoyed these videos. I hope you have enjoyed Bunjie's Bear Bash 25 and these vlogs. I hope you'll sign up and consider joining us in one of these bear bashes. And until next time, all hail Bunjie.